Don't forget who I am. Don't forget what I am. I am a black dude.
I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby.
Not a good look that you do what you did to me.
If you say that word one more time, I'm going to choke the bleep out of you. That chilling audio clip didn't just trend. It detonated across the internet like a bomb, sending shockwaves through social media, newsrooms, and locker rooms alike. Within hours, it became the centerpiece of a rapidly escalating legal firestorm, one that now threatens to dismantle everything Shannon Sharpe has built over decades. From NFL legend to beloved sports commentator, his reputation is on the line. But here's the twist. Almost no one is asking the most important question. Why did this lawsuit land with surgical timing, just days before Sharpe was reportedly on the verge of signing a $100 million broadcasting deal that could have redefined his career? That kind of coincidence feels less like bad luck and more like a calculated strike. And then came the curveball. Dave Chappelle, never one to speak unless there's smoke behind the scenes, dropped a cryptic line in a recent set, hinting that this whole mess might not be about Shannon Sharpe at all. Instead, he suggested it could be a high-profile warning shot, a chilling reminder to every celebrity, whistleblower, or influencer who dares to pull back the curtain on Hollywood's carefully manufactured image. The timing, the power plays, the players involved, none of it feels random. In fact, the deeper you dig, the more it starts to look like something orchestrated from behind the velvet ropes of fame. So buckle up, because this story, uglier than a fumbled touchdown in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. And if what insiders are whispering is true, we haven't even scratched the surface yet. What we're witnessing may not be just a legal dispute. It could be a takedown designed to protect something far bigger and far more dangerous. Jane Doe's lawsuit doesn't read like your typical civil complaint. It reads like a horror script ripped straight from the darkest corners of a true crime documentary. According to the filing, Shannon Sharpe, now 56, allegedly began pursuing her when she was just 19 years old. What started as flattery, she claims, quickly escalated into an obsessive pattern of control, manipulation, and violence. She paints a harrowing picture of a relationship defined by coercion and fear, alleging that Sharpe filmed their intimate encounters without her knowledge or consent and subjected her to repeated physical and emotional abuse. The most disturbing incident, detailed in graphic language, describes how Sharpe allegedly held her in place during one of their encounters as she cried and begged him to stop. Her voice, shaken, raw, and cracking with fear, is allegedly captured in an audio recording that's now gone viral. In it, Sharpe can reportedly be heard growling the words, "I don't think you have a choice in the matter." That single line has become the spine-chilling centerpiece of the entire case. But Sharpe and his legal team are not retreating quietly into the shadows. In fact, they've launched a full-scale counteroffensive. Their first move? Unmasking Jane Doe. They claim she is Gabriela Zuniga, a known OnlyFans content creator with a public persona and large following. Sharpe's attorneys are adamant that the interactions being described were not abuse, but consensual role-play rooted in elaborate fantasy scenarios. According to them, what Zuniga now frames as trauma was in fact part of a mutually agreed dynamic. Intense, yes, but fabricated. But even as they spin this narrative of consensual adult behavior, one uncomfortable fact remains that the defense can't seem to explain away. And here's where it all starts to unravel. Why, everything was truly consensual and staged. Did Sharpe's legal team admit he offered Zuniga a staggering $10 million to stay quiet? This relationship was all role-play, a private fantasy between two adults. Why the hush money? Why the payoff? That offer alone has raised eyebrows across the legal world. Because you don't offer someone 8 figures to go away if you have nothing to hide. Suggests a deeper fear, a more damning truth just beneath the surface, one that even Sharpe's high-powered legal machine may not be able to contain. Question isn't just about whether the relationship was consensual. It's about what lengths someone will go to in order to keep certain truths buried, and who stands to lose if they come out. This is where the story takes a sharp left turn, and where things start to get weird. According to insiders close to Dave Chappelle, the legendary comedian didn't just see this coming. He warned Sharpe months in advance. In private circles, Chappelle allegedly told him, "They'll come for you next." At the time, it may have sounded like paranoia or vague celebrity gossip, but now that warning feels prophetic. Why would Chappelle say that? Well, it turns out Sharpe's podcast, Club Shay Shay, quietly become one of the most disruptive platforms in Hollywood. It wasn't just a celebrity interview show, it became a digital pulpit for canceled stars and industry outsiders to speak their truths unfiltered. One of the most explosive episodes featured Cat Williams, who didn't hold back. Williams called out Hollywood's rigged game, exposing hidden payouts, exploitative contracts, and the silent power players pulling strings behind the scenes. That episode alone racked up millions of views and had the industry buzzing, and not in a good way. Now here's the timing that's raising eyebrows. Just as Sharpe's podcast hit new levels of influence, and as whispers circulated about a massive $100 million media deal set to lock him in as one of the most powerful black voices in entertainment, everything changed. Boom. The lawsuit dropped, and it wasn't quiet. It was loud, graphic, and instantly viral. For Chappelle, who's no stranger to industry pushback himself, this didn't feel like coincidence. His theory, this lawsuit might not be just about Sharpe. Could be about something much bigger. A message, a warning shot. A way to remind high-profile black men who speak too freely that their power comes with a target on their back. That there are limits to how far you can go when you start pulling back the curtain on the entertainment machine and those who run it. But let's be crystal clear here. Just because the timing feels suspicious doesn't mean Sharpe is innocent. That's the uncomfortable nuance at the center of this whole situation. Yes, there may be a playbook at work, one where influence is punished and truth-tellers get silenced, but that doesn't automatically absolve the accused. In fact, it complicates things further. Because if there's even some truth to what Gabriela Zuniga is alleging, then Sharpe's rise to power wasn't just controversial, it was built on something darker. The real tragedy here may be that the truth is buried somewhere under mountains of money, sealed legal records, manipulated narratives, and behind-the-scenes agendas that the public may never fully uncover. What we're left with is a dangerous guessing game, and a media storm where no one escapes clean. Meet Tony Buzbee, the high-profile, polarizing attorney who's made a name for himself by taking on some of the biggest and most controversial figures in entertainment. He's the man behind multiple explosive lawsuits, first against hip-hop mogul Diddy, then rap icon Jay-Z, and now Shannon Sharpe. His legal tactics, unrelenting. His public image, divisive to say the least. Critics across the media landscape have labeled him everything from a legal crusader to a shakedown artist, someone who knows exactly how to leverage the hashtag #MeToo movement for maximum clout, media attention, and yes, massive financial settlements. Buzbee's name has become synonymous with lawsuits drenched in drama, high-profile defendants, sexual misconduct allegations, and claims designed to make headlines before they ever reach a courtroom. Some legal analysts call his methods theatrical. Others see them as dangerous. But here's where things get even more suspicious. Buzbee previously targeted Jay-Z with a lawsuit that fell apart in spectacular fashion. Court threw it out, citing lack of evidence and credibility issues. That loss should have been a major blow, but instead of backing off, Buzbee doubled down. Now he's aiming his legal sights at Shannon Sharpe, and he's doing it with a nearly identical playbook: a secretive plaintiff, explosive audio, and a mountain of salacious claims meant to dominate the headlines. Sharpe's legal team isn't holding back either. They're accusing Buzbee of editing the leaked audio to fit a stereotype, to portray Sharpe as a violent, hypersexual predator straight out of the worst kind of racialized media trope. They say it's a calculated move meant to enrage the public, stain Sharpe's reputation, and pressure him into a quiet settlement. It's not just about winning in court, it's about destroying him in the court of public opinion. But Buzbee isn't flinching. In a recent press conference, he fired back with a statement that cut deep. Why offer $10 million if you're clean? It's the kind of question that sticks, even if the legal answer is more complicated than it sounds. For Buzbee, the money speaks louder than any defense. For Sharpe's team, it's a classic example of extortion masquerading as justice. So what's really going on here? Is Sharpe hiding something dark and indefensible? Or is he the latest target in what some are calling a masterclass in character assassination? A public takedown carefully orchestrated to look like justice, while functioning more like a media-driven ambush. Either way, the lines between truth, agenda, and ambition have never been blurrier. Court of public opinion is anything but unified. On one side, critics are dragging Shannon Sharpe through the mud, calling him out for what they see as a disturbing lack of sexual discipline. Their main focus? The massive 30-year age gap between the 56-year-old Sharpe and Gabriela Zuniga, the woman accusing him of abuse. To many, the optics alone are damning. A powerful, older celebrity entangled with a barely legal woman from the world of online adult content. And in today's hypersensitive climate, age gaps like that don't just raise eyebrows, they spark outrage. Social media timelines are flooded with comments accusing Sharpe of grooming, exploitation, and predatory behavior, even before a single fact has been proven in court. But not everyone's convinced this is an open and shut case. A growing number of fans and commentators are starting to ask harder questions, not just about Sharpe's actions, but about why these allegations surfaced right now. The timing, they say, is suspicious at best. Sharpe was days away from signing a jaw-dropping $100 million media deal that would have made him one of the most powerful black voices in entertainment. And let's not forget, his podcast club Shay Shay wasn't just another celebrity talk show. It had become a high-voltage platform for whistleblowers, critics of the entertainment elite, and people with serious bones to pick with Hollywood's power structure. When Cat Williams appeared on the show and aired out accusations of bribery, rigged contracts, and hidden agendas, the episode practically broke the internet. For some, it's clear, Sharpe didn't just become successful, he became dangerous to the wrong people. So let's cut through the noise and ask the real question. Is Sharpe actually guilty of these horrific accusations? Or is he just the latest player in a much older, far dirtier game? One where public shaming, legal threats, and sudden scandals are used like weapons to silence anyone who dares challenge the status quo? If you think that sounds like a stretch, consider the pattern. Mariah Carey was branded unstable just days after signing a historic $100 million record deal. Martin Lawrence was institutionalized at the height of his fame. Britney Spears, Kanye West, even Dave Chappelle himself, every time they shook the table, chaos conveniently followed. Coincidence? Not according to Chappelle. He's gone on record saying the industry doesn't just punish rebellion, it orchestrates meltdowns, forces breakdowns, and weaponizes media narratives to make sure no one else steps out of line. Sharpe, whether guilty or innocent, may have just stepped into that same crosshairs. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Shannon Sharpe could be a predator and a pawn. If these allegations are true, he deserves accountability. But if this is a hit job, it reveals something far darker, an industry that'll burn its own stars to keep secrets buried. So what's your verdict? Is Sharpe a villain or the latest casualty in Hollywood's silent war? Drop a comment. And if you think this story's wild, wait until you hear what's really behind Diddy's lawsuits. Tap next, but fair warning, you won't see the music industry the same way again.